All right, so we're going to look at a dystopia and a utopia and define the difference between the two. Now, there is a video that's right here on the right that is kind of a neat video to go into if you want to see more in-depth discussion about books that have utopias and dystopias. But I'm not going to go into that. If you want to look at the slideshow yourself and go through that, that's fine. But I just want a basic understanding of a utopia versus a dystopia because it helps understand the giver. So a utopia is a place where everything is supposed to be perfect. It's an imaginary place. It doesn't exist, obviously. There's no war. There's no hunger. Everybody gets along. Whereas a dystopia is the exact opposite. Everything is unpleasant. It's bad. Dystopias usually are supposed to be utopias, but underneath the surface, it's not what it appears to be. So look at this picture. Everything appears to be perfect at the top, but I like this picture because the black buildings in the inverse down here are jagged and they have cracks and things in them. But also the white, if you look at that, they're kind of like buildings also, and they look dilapidated and run down also. So it's really a cool picture. But a dystopia is the exact opposite of a utopia. It is a bad place. So we're going to talk about the giver, and we're going to look back to one of the sections that you've already read for homework. And this is what we're going to call Asher Gets a Smack. It's on page 53 in the black book. In the white book, in the movie edition book, it's page 68. So you can follow along there if you want to. But before we start reading this, we're looking for things that are surprising or shocking. This is a polite society. It's a utopia, it seems, right? Everybody and everything is perfect. The society helps children develop into good citizens, but is it really a utopia? And I don't know if you've got caught whiffs of this yet, but there are hints along the way that maybe things aren't what they seem to be. So let's reread this part. Asher Gets a Smack. All of us in the community know and enjoy Asher, the chief elder began. Asher grinned and scratched one leg with the other foot. The audience chuckled softly. When the committee began to consider Asher's assignment, she went on, there were some possibilities that were immediately discarded, some that would clearly not have been right for Asher. For example, she said, smiling, we did not consider for an instant designating Asher an instructor of threes. The audience howled with laughter. Asher laughed too, looking sheepish but pleased at the special attention. The instructor of threes were in charge of the acquisition of correct language. In fact, the chief elder continued, chuckling a little to herself, we even gave a little thought to some retroactive chastisement for the one who had been Asher's instructor of threes so long ago. So retroactive chastisement means they were considering punishing the instructor of threes, Asher's instructor of threes, for what he did back in the past. Retroactive means in the past. And chastisement means punishment. At the meeting where Asher was discussed, we retold many of the stories that we all remembered from his days of language acquisition. Especially, she said, chuckling, the difference between snack and smack. Remember Asher? Asher nodded ruefully, and the audience laughed aloud. Jonas did too. He remembered, though he had only been a 3 at the time himself. The punishment used for small children was a regulated system of smacks with the discipline wand, a thin, flexible weapon that stung painfully when it was wielded. The child care specialists were trained very carefully in the discipline methods. A quick smack across the hands for a bit of minor misbehavior, 3 sharper smacks on the bare legs for a second offense. Poor Asher, who always talked too fast and mixed up words even as a toddler. As a 3, eager for his juice and crackers at snack time, he one day said smack instead of snack, as he stood waiting in line for the morning treat. Jonas remembered it clearly. He could still see little Asher wriggling with impatience in the line. He remembered the cheerful voice call out, I want my smack. The other 3s, including Jonas, had laughed nervously. Snack, they corrected. You meant smack. Snack, Asher. But the mistake had been made, and precision of language was once one of the most important tasks of small children. Asher asked for a smack. The discipline wand in the hand of the child care worker whistled as it came down across Asher's hands. Asher whimpered, cringed, and corrected himself instantly. Snack, he whispered. But the next morning he had done it again, and again the following week. He couldn't seem to stop, though for each lapse, the discipline wand came again, escalating to a series of painful lashes that left marks on Asher's legs. Eventually, for a period of time, Asher stopped talking altogether when he was a 3. For a while, the chief elder said, relating the story, we had a silent Asher, but he learned. Now, there's something wrong if a 3-year-old stops talking. I have a 2.5-year-old, and he doesn't shut up. He's always talking. What's this? What's that? Can we do this? Why do you do this? All those questions that they are, part of their learning process as a 3-year-old. Now, for a 3-year-old to shut down, there's something majorly wrong. Like, he went silent. He didn't stop. He didn't talk. So that if they're supposed to be nurturing and bringing up these children in a nurturing environment and it's supposed to be perfect, is this really a perfect way to bring children up? Which kind of is only scratching the surface of the rest of the society. Like, everything seems perfect, but is it really? When you think about it, are the things that they're doing really perfect? Yes, that's supposed to be a picture of Asher from the movie version. Anyway, so record in your workshop notes what's surprising and unexpected in the last scene. So I want you to take a minute to record that right now. And when you are done, hit play. All right. Also, what I want you to think about is, how does this shape your theory about the big idea? So you had a theory about the big idea. In Google Classroom, I had a question up there. You made a response for that question. What's your idea of the big idea based on, the first chapter or whatever? Now that something is surprising, shocking, how does that shape your theory of the big idea? Is it revised? Is it confirmed? So I want you to think about that and pause the video again. Write your answers down, pause the video. All right, now the way that you're going to discuss your answers, actually, I'm going to create another Google question, and I'm going to say in Google, and it is going to ask you if you are revising your theory of theme or if it's the same and what it is. So what's your big idea? Is it still the same or is it different? So I'm going to put that in Google Classroom. That's where you will answer that question right now. So hit pause and switch to Google Classroom, answer that question. All right. Finally, I'm going to tell you what your homework is. You need to read chapters 8 through 12 and be prepared to discuss with the class. We're going to have a class discussion, everything that's happened so far, and also be ready for that quiz, because that quiz is coming next class too on chapters 8 through 12. And make 3 more annotations for anything that's complex or complicated. So pay attention to those. Write down what's complex, what's complicated, and does it shape your theory of what the big idea is? That's what this whole unit is all about, revising and reshaping our theories of the big idea.